5 seconds after returning from Atlanta from filming some very wild stuff unrelated to even our own stuff, I'm bombarded with some of the coolest, overwhelming news here. The guys not only have the other fender, so that alone is worthy of a whole video by itself, but they also have the hood pieces that are going to help raise the hood so the wheels, when they turn and we hit bumps, don't destroy the bottom side of the hood. All of that is happening right now at once. It's a surprise, and I couldn't ask for more. The pieces are in the molds.
Yeah.
It's a safe way to transport it.
Exactly.
Ta-da. That is.
So it's dusty
Oh
still.
my god, this thing's gonna look so sick.
So let's check this out.
This side would be the one that we really get to see come together.
Oh wow.
Obviously, this fender doesn't have any mounting points yet, so you guys will have to use your imagination a little bit. But
That's.
at that, I already feel the growth.
Do you want me to? You want to trade places?
No, get it for them. I want you guys to see this before I do. I already just can feel the flow of it all. It's just exactly what I wanted. Like, it's a wide ass tire. It all feels proportionate to what it's supposed to feel like. Man, that is.
Now do you want
Okay,
to?
now somebody else. Yeah. There you have the very first rendition of what we had seen on the computer. This is massive. This is huge. This is what I've been dreaming of. This is what I've been staring at on a computer and going, maybe in a millimeter, maybe out a millimeter. And these guys have executed. Ignore the corners of the front bumper for a second, and kind of ignore most of the front bumper. But everything up here will all get molded into each other. The second hood, obviously, it's missing the other half of the hood. All of that will get molded into one massive hood, which is why a lot of people are messaging me saying, hey, why don't you use like so-and-so's this or this person's socket? It doesn't fit this doesn't fit anything. We'll mold the two hoods together again, just like I did at the one that's up on the wall over there, and then we'll make it all one piece and then make that a whole carbon fiber hood meant for partying.
Wow.
You gotta sit in it and see how it looks.
Oh yeah, that is true. See how the height. That is actually a wild view of that bottom. You guys have to see what it looks like sitting in the driver's seat and looking over the hood. It's such a cool view. See how many strands of wires are. This is over 100 strands. The more strands of wires, the more strands of hair I want to pull out of my head. And thanks to Keeps, I have those strands of hair to pull. Fortunately, now I've just recently celebrated my 38th birthday, I've gotten past the point of the average statistic. 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. By the time I was about 30, started seeing the Great Migration back. That is an unfortunate side effect of aging. But thanks to Keeps, you can prevent that from happening. That's the key thing for me, and that's why I loved working with Keeps long before I was working with them like this. I wanted to prevent that hair loss. I wanted to keep what I had. I use this minoxidil, a couple droplets, crown up here, and you'll see the result. They actually have an alternative solution to that. I go back and forth on which one I want to use. These both do the same thing. This one's aerosol. You actually can use it as a hair gel. And not only are you using it to prevent hair loss, you actually can also kind of get 2 things done at once. Keeps, of course, expand into hair thickening shampoo and conditioner. The stuff smells amazing, and of course has a lot of different things in it to help supplement your hair loss. If you're interested in learning more about, well, my wild looking hair gel now, and Keeps other products that they have in their entire lineup, and in fact, all the information on their website, you can go to keeps.com/RobDahm to learn more. They even have a special offer if you go to keeps.com/RobDahm. As you guys may remember, Rich, who's helped save my whole vision for the 4-rotor turning into a carbon fiber monster, Rich and I are here. This is kind of an old school throwback for those of you guys that remember how this car started. It was more of me holding the camera and having fun with somebody else helping do crazy stuff to it. Now, what I mean about this one is we are going to be remaking this hood, but you see, it's not what it used to be. There are 2 pieces of hood, so 2 separate hoods, just like the last one, but then 2 more pieces that go on top of it. So what we're gonna start the process is kind of similar to the way that we did it on the one back here. So this one back here was simply 2 hoods, kind of shifted, cut, and then spliced together. That was always meant to be just a visual thing. I like to try and remind people that as fun as it was seeing it fly off and break the rear glass, that was always meant to just be a base for making the carbon hood. Here is round 2, and we get to do exactly that. But because these fenders are so much bigger, accommodating for the huge tires turning and slamming on the brakes while it's a hardcore turn, we raised the hood on the corners too. So it's gonna look even more race car, but still stock FD. We're gonna make some space, and we are going to begin remaking the hood and then have a professional take it from there. Now, part of me did want to utilize this hood, but this thing's been through way too much. Many of you guys remember that is actually the original hood from the 3-rotor that met its untimely demise by a YouTuber. So then I have that hood, which is the replacement hood for that one. That has to stay there. That is too nice of a hood. I bought that one for a couple $100. So we have this hood right here. And there are some weird things on this one. So I purposely tried buying crappier hoods, not to make Rich's life worse, but to not take unicorns out of existence. So we have this hood here, which I think is going to be the back half. So we'll have the black back half. And then we've got, of course, just like last time, it was a pink one. In this case, a red one. And so this one's also pretty beat to hell. So again, you guys know that I'm not trying to ruin good stuff, but we're going to cut this one and take the front part of that. And we should have... yeah, all the parts that come with it and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this one on the car as well, just to make sure that it doesn't look weird. Hell, I'll probably throw it on the 3-rotor just to make sure everything lines up, and then we'll start measuring them up. We have figured out, it's been a minute for me, but the hood is actually 8 inches longer. I thought it was 6.5. I don't know where I was getting those numbers confused. So what we are going to do is we took this hood off. We've taken one of the lines off of the oil system so the whole thing sits underneath the hood. And then we've set the red hood on here just to make sure that everything is square and flat. And so this one is going to be the front hood, and that one's going to be the back hood. So we're going to take that. Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the whole vacuum line. What? You're upset we're going to cut some hoods up? Yeah, sorry. So what we're going to do is, however Rich wants to do it, we'll scribe the line on this one, cut the top, try to preserve the back side, preserve this back stuff to help strengthen the rear of the hood, and make some Frankenstein moves. There's the hood starting to look like the bare elements of what it's going to be. And you can see this is the bottom side of the top side. And that gets cut, obviously. But then this side is what we'll use to help reinforce the two underneath, which is what I actually did on the old hood. That's actually what I used to hold the hood together, was these, which is why I think the hood didn't break in half. That's not why the hood broke. The hood broke because of the damn hood latches. So we're going to use these parts. Let's steal that. Definitely did a number on this whole area of, and we never attached these two, so.
All right.
Yeah, so we took these off of the 3-rotor. You can still see that the whole car is kind of, this part in particular is bent, so everything kind of sits on an angle, but we're at least starting from somewhere. Ultimately, the hood will be attached somewhere over here, but I think we're basically ready to put it back on.
Yeah.
There we are. That is our first time with a hood back on latches, and you can see why when anybody suggests, hey, you know, why not use this hood or that hood or the Speed Hunters, unfortunately, that's how far it would not fit. Can't use my carbon fiber one, I can't use any of those things. Just a little bit short, 8 inches to be exact. You need this wide angle lens for this car. Like, this thing's just so ridiculous. Whatever method you want, you just did the angle grinder. This will get cut along this line, and then we'll leave the guts underneath it kind of further out, so that way the two can make a bridge between them. And when I was cutting the old one, I almost did it opposite, where there was no understructure beneath either of them, because I like, okay, which half of which hood am I using? And I almost completely messed up everything, but thankfully I paused before I went and did any further. But this one is going to stay at the top, so it'll have the fork.
Like, I'll bring this to this body line on the core support,
Yeah.
and then cut it straight here, and then we can cut the underside however far we want.
I ended up using the areas that were capable of being flattened out. I ended up cutting the curved parts off, so I had 4 basically tabs. You can do it however you want, but that was what I remember now.
Ta-da!
Not bad.
Let's wrap it up, boys. We got it done. So now we simply rinse and repeat. We just do it 8 inches further back. Got the first hood done, and then we're going to do the same thing to this hood. It's been sitting outside very clearly. Thankfully, it's made out of aluminum, so it's not going to rust. I'm going to clean this off before it's set on the car and cut back up. Since we cut the previous one 16 inches down for this section, we're no longer going to use this section of this hood. We're going to cut this down only 8 inches. 16 minus 8 is 8. So we'll cut this and throw that out. And then we have all this good hood to use.
The mini hood.
I'm gonna go with that one. That's the one I want.
Looks about the right size.
Yeah, I guess if we were gonna make a mid-engine car, we could use that hood. We are here, and we got a lot of shit underneath it that we can work with.
This piece I figured there's a little bit of flex, so we can probably just put like glue here. Pop it right in there.
Yeah, I like that. Because yeah, the one thing I didn't do on my version, I did not glue the bottom to the top again, because all those glue pads.
Yeah.
So the whole top could flex like that.
Right.
And I left it like that, so it was my fault. Yeah, I like that idea.
Nice. That's pretty spot on.
Hasn't turned around yet. Oh,
What?
Plastic.
Timing. Enough about the roof, though. This is the magic.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Needs a little bit of adjusting.
But it's it. That's it. Of course, we built it with this hood in mind. The guys got this far without even having the actual base hood. You can see why it works so well with just this hood, because that's what we scanned it with, was one of the stock hoods. And so this area, of course, was going to need work no matter what we did. But that's how you rapidly prototype something. Plan of attack is pretty straightforward from here, is getting these two to be nicer to each other, get them solid together, because you can't build off of that, and then start molding these into this. Not gonna be easy. We have got a flurry of activity with this car. All different things going on all at once. This is something very exciting because my friends over at SPAL, S-P-A-L, it's an Italian company, but they have a US arm. The guys over at SPAL are obsessive about moving air. Almost like a turbocharger company, but they're just fans. And the amount of information that they have helped send me about making a radiator fan or any sort of cooling fan is ridiculous. They sent me this as kind of my request for trying to figure out the best fan. If you guys from SPAL see this, I can't thank you enough, mostly for the information. Some of you may recognize this, and this is kind of a cheat. This is a beautiful brushless fan. So this is actually meant for a C7 ZR1, and it was the fan that they upgraded to solve the overheating problems that they were having at the track earlier C7s. And so this fan is PWM, meaning that we can control it. So it doesn't just burr. Fans will use up to 120 amps. Like if you have a fan that's gonna be, say, a 40 amp fan, even though that fuse doesn't pop, it will experience a current inrush of up to 100, 120 amps. It's insane. And so on my PDM, on the 4-rotor, when this fan used to kick on, you could actually hear, and then it would kick the relay off. This, we're allowed to pulse it. So this fan, we're allowed to go, we can actually turn, basically what you would call soft start. Or we can run this at 10%, and then 20% as the car starts requiring more load. The issue is making sure we don't shock the car with need for power. That sort of shock, I think, is also what's helping hurt the belt, because that means the alternator instantly needs to create 50 more, 60 more amps. We now, going brushless, almost use about half the amperage to make the same amount of airflow, and then also gain all of the adjustability from 0 to 100%. On top of all that, this fan is integrated into a radiator shroud, and so that's pretty badass. Got a lot to play with right now.
You gotta tell them what these are, dude. You gotta tell them what these are.
Yeah, imagine this fan is running at a very slow speed. And so it's gonna be spinning like this, pulling air out of the back of the radiator. Well, if you're sitting, all of that air is coming through here and coming out of this hole. These shut to make sure that this has a whole vacuum all the way around this surface area of the radiator, right? If you're doing 60 miles an hour, there is a point where there is air being forced in from the front of the car, and all of that air is being sucked out through the fan. What happens if the fan is not spinning that fast, or say you decide to go 120 miles an hour? Well, at some point, that air is actually creating pressure because the fan can't even get it out that fast. And so you have these little pockets, these little bypass flapper valves. And so that pressure is no longer making this fan less effective. It's actually getting the air out the back through here. Again, they close when you need to pull a vacuum, and then they open when you need to rush the air from the front of the car through here, not just through the fan. This is 100% where I want it.
Is this too close?
This whole thing needs to be, it's spine broken.
Right.
So that's,
Okay.
you don't have to worry about that part. I mean, you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
All you have to do is make sure it lines up with all these. Mine was stronger, but whatever. He's adding tabs right now that will ultimately take some of those out, but the others we can actually hide into the higher parts of our form of the hood. We'll use the increased humps to our advantage, our lovely lady lumps. He's making this thing way better than I ever even attempted to do. When he's gone for the night, Isaiah and I are gonna cut a huge hole right for the turbo, and we're just gonna repeat what we did before. We've learned nothing. Is it on?
Yeah.
Oh. It's time to bust out the glue. Gotta keep that thing on me. Right? Oh, okay, well, never mind. Whatever.
Wait, let's compare.
Yeah,
Put it next
it's
to him.
actually, this is actually the same stuff. I mean, I don't know if you have the same, but they make these in that size too. This is just the 200 mil size.
That's awesome. This is for sealing off the wiring harnesses. You know, just resin.
Excuses.
Yeah, it's you know, it's more of a precision. You know what I'm saying?
Cold
Like
out.
sniper shot.
No, this has like a bunch of little channels in it. to
Oh yeah,
mix
it's called a static mixing tip, and yeah, it just mixes it perfectly.
What?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty
I had
badass.
one, but I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't look at mine. That's mine does that too.
Really?
It's just whatever.
What is that right there?
Yeah.
This is an adhesion promoter.
Oh, agent promoter. Oh,
Adhesion promoter.
adhesion promoter.
Yep.
So it promotes adhesion.
Yep, it makes things stick
Wow.
when you want it to.
Is it supposed to be blue like that?
Yeah.
Oh, your tip is falling.
Oh god.
Oh no.
I swear this never happens.
This stuff ends up curing to what, like a JB Weld or like a more flexible?
It gets pretty stiff, honestly.
You gonna put more?
Not yet.
Are you sure?
Sure.
This kind of thin.
Yeah.
Get the finger a little bit.
You know, just get it in there. I'm gonna go back over the top because I can't get to everywhere with this, you know.
What he did was he actually put that aluminum tape on the top side so this stuff doesn't just fall through while he was applying it initially. So once it hardens up a little bit, which actually holds a pretty decent consistency to begin with, that's actually pretty firm stuff. The idea is that you don't want it dripping out to the top side. Now you got to deal with that as well. But he's out, what are you going to do? You're going to glue the top side ultimately.
I'm gonna go back over the top side with a different material. Yeah, I have this stuff, I call it sucre sauce. It's basically like a laminating paste. It's made with fiberglass resin, and that's what I'm gonna go over the top with.
Not really a secret if you tell us, right?
Well, you don't know the recipe. I was thinking I might put these brackets on the underside, like connecting the sheet metal, and then just cut off the screw tip and grind it flush.
I see no negative to that. The aluminum tape is actually stickier than I thought.
Yeah, it's really sticky. There's where the glue is.
There we are. That's pretty sick. That's definitely holding them together much better than anything I did.
Probably gonna put one of these on each corner here.
Yeah.
Maybe on the underside. I'm gonna use the secret sauce and go back over the top.
Perfect. That get you most of the way there.
Yep. Now I can put, you know, filler or glaze putty or whatever over it.
Yeah.
It won't just sink into the hole. Nasty stuff.
It's beautiful. This is like cake baking, but not. So is this stuff easier to sand down?
No, it actually gets pretty hard. It's a lot stronger.
Oh, okay.
It's basically resin and like there's actually like ground up fiberglass in there.
And you can really see this whole thing take shape so easily. At this point, it's really almost completely solid. The way he's glued it and screwed it together, all of these things will prevent it from warping when we go take it to Colorado to get the final mold made from this plug. Now, that being said, that's the main part of this hood. So all these pieces are all just, you know, on my version, this all wiggled and wobbled and did weird things. That will allow us now to put these parts on and mold them in. And of course, you can see that the challenge is that, you know, two hoods molded together. He's gonna work on this area, bringing it down, and then once these are in place, then flushing it all together, getting rid of all these kick marks or hail dents or whatever is going on there, and then just really making sure it's meant to be the hood on this car. What can I say that the video doesn't say without me talking? This is just beautiful. You can see the vision. We saw the vision from the beginning, and after the guy showed the rear fender was capable of being done digitally, this, I had no worries in my mind, and yet even gets better than what we had visioned, because now that they've got it all molded together, they haven't even molded these on yet, and you can see angles, you can see curves and complex shapes that I would dream of having on a custom car. Something like this area here where it does come in really kind of a tighter angle than we were expecting. There is something that's going to be very pretty about that once we add filler and really use that curve to our advantage. And so all of this shape in here is just going to be almost like a massive warehouse design company went and built this, and yet it was just a handful of guys dicking around. That's testament to how much work can get done with the right number of people and the right amount of energy to do so. Yeah, so definitely that slight bit softer on this edge, and I think because these are more soft edges.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of keep with that theme. But yeah, we are. Oh my God. Is it too late to say maybe I want to go a totally different direction with the hood?
Maybe a little late.
It's all right. I mean, it's not like the sickest thing ever. God, you don't even have the fenders on it. You can just feel the aggressiveness of the car.
Can we put the fenders on?
No, they can't. Somebody's got to do this, right? We're all gonna stare at it. Might as well stare at it right. Oh my God, that is one hell of a car. Now, if you guys are looking at this, obviously you see the hood and the fender at different heights. Fender is very flexible. First of all, it's saying, well, we're just trying to hold it in roughly the correct place, but you get the idea. What a big car! That is what I want. That hood looks better than I was even imagining it could.
Oh.
That hood, everything fits so proportionately. Still looks like an empty. Absolutely does. And that is one of the coolest things about it. I can't believe the tires fit inside of that. It looks like it goes way out, but the real one actually kind of comes in a little bit more. This is ridiculous. My dream of when you look at 2016 and you see what the car looked like then, and it was like, it's the car, but all these things, but this is it. And to think that's all gonna be carbon, ridiculous.
Whoa. You happy to see me or?
Okay. Can't help it. I can't help it. I'm bricked. Jeez.
Not fitting it
That is quite a insane moment for us. The suspension's being faked to be almost exactly at ride height. It's not at full droop. This is purposely at ride height, so that tire will go up into that fender without a problem. This is a thing of beauty. It's so impressive because it doesn't look like all that work was done to it. I think as an artist or a creator, you have that realization that when you realize nothing wild has happened, that's when it's the best quality of work. When it looks so good, it looks just like, oh, wow, yeah, that's very quick to do. It's not, and that's when your work doesn't get noticed, but it does. At the end of the day, like, this is just epic.
How many days has it been?
This is Thursday, and we started with the hoods Monday morning. The two separate hoods, and we're at this point. And the best part about the whole video right now is he's going to make it one color. He's going to go ahead and primer it, and we're going to see the first glimpse of what this hood looks like as one hood. This is a monumental moment for the entire build. This is really, truly amazing. But I want to explain what's going on right now is that he's spraying liquid carbon fiber. he's spraying, great, now I'm going to say that, I actually say that. He's spraying primer. So you'll see it like gray, and primer is kind of that thicker paint that is very easy to sand. So he's spraying it all one color, and you're already starting to see some of the different peaks and valleys and the shape of the hood because now the light hits it consistently. This is just amazing to watch. And if you get really close, you'll start seeing flowers and beautiful world of gnomes and butterflies. I don't know. That stuff's really strong, and I don't want to get much closer. Nice little update here. The hood is looking so amazing. He's just putting that detail into it, making sure the curves all do the same thing, making it even on both sides. That's an art that turns into a science, really. But the wind is preventing us from really laying down layers of primer to then have it finalized. So you can see the wind is blowing up, doing all these little miniature tornadoes. That's gonna make it really hard for him to spray. So at this point, we're in a little bit of a holding pattern, but we're just starting to see like all of the shapes and all the personality of this hood really take shape. I mean, you could see it from the beginning, but it gets easier and easier to visualize the closer it gets to being finished.
That's good.
The hood's pretty much done. This is the plug all finished up. Next step is just for it to go out to Colorado.